we're going to find the nitrogenous compounds, like I said, usually from the use of the amino acids. Tissue breakdown can also lead to nitrogen compounds. A nitrogenous waste, we also term it urea. Now, what does that make you think of? We think of urine, okay? Now, we'll find that it's going to also refer to uric acid, and then creatinine. All right, but the big term that you'll hear it referred to is the urea. Now, these are the toxic end product of catabolism. Toxic. Okay? This means the buildup of these wastes in my blood is not good. The body, under normal conditions, the kidneys usually get rid of it. But we also have it form in like bilirubin and part of the feces and that sort of thing also. But the biggest way that the body will get rid of this is with the kidneys. Now think about your blood flow for a second. Let's start at the heart. Heart pumps, pushes it out through the aorta. It goes up into the neck, and then it begins its descent downward. What's the first organ it hits? The kidneys. Because we want to filter the blood as much as possible before it begins going all over the body. Does that make sense? All right, so under normal conditions, kidneys take care of that. For the nutrients, you guys did a good job. Glucose, vitamins, fats, cholesterol, phospholipids, minerals. It can carry dissolved oxygen. Oxygen that dissolved in the water. Very little of that is going to be present. More CO2 will be present in the plasma than what you see on the red blood cell. And then the nitrogen, okay, the inert gases. Our electrolytes. Ta-da! Everybody read it with me. Sodium. Sodium makes up. Read. Sodium makes up 90% of plasma cations. The one thing that it seems like everything comes back to. Now, let's go back to our makeup of what we think of as the salt, the sodium chloride. Even though salt that we eat is more than just that, okay? Now, have we run across the use of that chlorine a lot yet at the cellular level? We are now. We are now going to see with the red blood cell the importance of the chlorine. That's going to get, that's pretty cool. So this plasma, all of this stuff that's making it up, one of the biggest things that's important, the viscosity. resistance of a fluid to flow. It helps, or it results from cohesion of particles. Do you guys remember cohesion and adhesion? What's the difference? Adhesion. What does that do? Think about being inside your blood vessel. Inside this vessel right here. What is add? It's going to adhere to the vessel. Cohesion is what? Materials stick to themselves. They can stick to themselves. Hopefully, they can move. Does that make sense? So, whole blood is 4 to 5 times more viscous than water. Water. Rather a nice flow, right? What if we could take it and make it 4 to 5 times more viscous? How easy do you think it would flow? It's not going to flow quite as easily out of that faucet. So the whole blood that we have in us, it's rather thick. Okay? You know, if blood comes out, it kind of gets sticky. That's what I think about. Okay? Kind of gets sticky. Plasma is only 2 times as viscous. Therefore, since it is the component in the highest amount, it is very important in getting the blood to flow. That osmolarity all those particles are going to contribute to the molarity. The other part about those particles, they are big enough that they cannot pass through a vessel wall. Why is that important? You don't want all that stuff diffusing into your tissues. This is my capillary bed, and all of my tissues. Okay? This is the point where exchange takes place. Exchange does not occur anywhere else except the capillary beds. All right? So at this point, what do I want to be able to move across the vessels? For example, I want glucose to be able to move out, right? I want oxygen to be able to move out. I want my nutrients to be able to move out. I want my salts to be able to move out. I want my CO2 to be able to move in. I want waste to be able to move in. Are you getting my point here? What am I talking about not moving? Red blood cells don't move. White blood cells don't move. I'm not getting any of those proteins moving. Do you see my point?
No.
Who said no?
Yes.
Okay. We have all of this stuff that's moving in the blood. All of it has a job. The only place that the exchange can occur Let's go back. Now remember, when we think of our blood vessels, we tend to think of these really huge things, right? They're important, don't get me wrong, okay? But it's at the area where we're going to meet the actual cells of a tissue. And those contain capillary beds, okay? And the capillary beds is what I've tried to draw is this little squiggly line, okay? And then these are my cells of the tissues. What we want to move is everything that can nourish those tissues. And what we want to move back into and get discarded by the body is any of the waste, okay? The stuff that is actually carrying it, like red blood cells carrying oxygen, proteins. Now, white blood cells, depending upon the cell, will diffuse out and wander around the cells, okay? Depending, you know, when we get to that point, you'll learn about that. Proteins, we don't want moving out, but the proteins are carrying important stuff. We want that important stuff pushed out, okay? So that we get the nourishment to the tissues, the cells, and the waste moved back out. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, so these particles are important. If the particles in the blood are in too high of an amount, do you guys remember osmosis? Water wants to do what? It wants to move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So if the particles in the blood are too high, it's going to pull water from the cells. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. If they're too low, water stays in the cells. If it stays in the cell, that leads to a condition of the water building up, and that's edema. All right? That, not really good. This, pulling it out of the cells, messes with our blood pressure. Not good either. All right? Optimum. Optimum is where we've got a regulation on both sides. Whether we're at this vessel level or whether we're at the cellular level, there is isotonic conditions. Do you guys remember that term? Isotonic? Meaning the same, and if that's the case, we've got equal movement of the water. Kind of cool, right? Now, in these plasma proteins,